This resolution, which has been co-sponsored in a bipartisan manner with Commissioner Gramis, would allow that the right of the citizen to speak on that issue is a right and is no longer a courtesy. That is all that it is saying. It is in no way saying that previously it was done improperly or so on and so forth. As I said in committee, the only time this has come up during my tenure here, our current chair handled the matter in what I feel is an appropriate and gracious manner and did allow the issue to be spoken on. However, the fact remains that it could be shut down. And that is why this resolution has been brought to the table, which is simply to close that loophole and ensure that you, the constituents who we work for, are guaranteed to have a voice no matter what.
Mr. Clerk, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, there were two comments made in committee for reworking this. One by Commissioner Gramis to make it clear that the comment would be at the time of the deferral or the withdrawal. And number two by Commissioner Brace to allow the motion to be debatable. So if this is deferred, I'll work with the two sponsors and Commissioner Brace to find agreeable language.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any other commissioner comments or Commissioner Gramis as a sponsor, co-sponsor?
Well, we had a lengthy discussion. It was obvious that there's input for the work that's required on this. So if there's not any other comments from the commissioners, I'd be ready to...
I believe there may be public comment.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, before we make the motion.
Is there any commissioner?
I would like to add for the record at this meeting what I said in the committee. I don't think that we have ever put a muzzle on anybody. We always have a period at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the meeting where we have public input. And even at that, if the chair were to try to muzzle someone, we can always have a motion from the floor to override that and make sure that we get public opinion. It's important that we have the public speak all the time. And I don't doubt that that is one of the tenets on which this board has been based over the years. So I think this particular resolution is just window dressing here. It has no impact in terms of giving anybody more input into our meetings. We are open to input all the time.
Thank you, Commissioner Doherty. Public input. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
I would just like to say that two things. First, to Commissioner Doherty's point, that while if for some reason the chair did deny someone the ability to speak, we could override that decision. However, it would require a majority of the board, which leaves the possibility that that individual may not have the right to speak. And again, I would like to point out that the way our meetings are structured, while we do have 2 opportunities for public comment, those opportunities are structured. The first opportunity is for non-agenda items, and the second opportunity is when we have things. And at the end of that would be when they would have to ask permission to speak about something that they thought was an agenda item, then was possibly not allowed to speak on it because they didn't, it was pulled and they didn't know that it was there. And then the issue becomes whether or not they are allowed to speak about an item that in the interim between when the agenda was printed and it was an agenda item and the non-agenda item window was open, they would then have to be at the behest of our chair to speak, and I don't believe that is fair. I do believe that anyone who comes down with an issue to speak shouldn't be silenced, and that it is integral. While it is very small, I don't believe it's window dressing. I think it is a very strong statement to say that it is not a courtesy that you have to speak to us. It is a right, and that again is why I put this forward.
I'm going to go Commissioner Brace and Commissioner Gramis and public input.
My remarks will be extremely brief. I'm an absolutist in the First Amendment principle that affirms our right to petition, and that it affirms citizen right to petition government for redress of any grievances. And I view this language and what I hope will be some amendments to it as guaranteeing that right. And we as elected officials are duty bound to protect those rights. It's central to what allows us to function as a representative democracy.
I think what Commissioner Bray said was pretty much is pretty much embraced by everybody on the board. But what this does is this provides a guarantee, and it provides framework for boards that are beyond us. Public input and public comment, no matter whether we agree or disagree, our job is to listen and react, and their right is to come to us as our constituents, as members of the county, citizens of the county. And I know that there was significant amount of comments that we had earlier, and I'd be willing to work with other commissioners to make sure we have all of those comments in place.
Okay. On the public input.
Yes, Joe Hilliard, South Allentown. As one who rarely speaks at these meetings, and I didn't plan to speak this many times, but there's good stuff on the agenda, but you probably missed me for a while, but that's over now, right? No, this is great. It's a great move for transparency and participation. As one who has seen motions deferred or whatever. Now again, this board and prior boards have been indeed amenable, but any discretionary subjective power is bound to be abused at some point. So it can't be a discretionary thing. You know, what if we have a bad group of majority Democrats or a bad group of majority Republicans? Okay, so you can still silence opponents on the other side. No, so that's not even a fix. So, yeah, that can't be a fix. And by the way, it's not always even party. It could be a majority of swamp creatures, and they just don't want to hear from citizen activists. Not that that ever goes on anywhere in government, but we know it does. Because when you call out the political class for certain things, I know from personal experience, people tend to be quite unhappy about that. So I fully support this. If there's a wording issue, let's work it out. Also, to reiterate Commissioner Zanelli's point, I can't speak about an agenda item that's later deferred in the opening comments. In fact, I usually have an off-agenda item topic I want to talk about. And a couple times it happened where when I wanted to talk about the deferred item at the end of the evening, there was comments by certain officials saying that you can only address non-agenda items. Now, the argument I used was, well, it was pulled from the agenda, so it's a non-agenda item, so I'm going to talk about it. But not all citizens, you know, think that legally that quickly. So this is a great thing. So the comment needs to be at the action. And you can't just say, well, it's deferred, you can talk about it next time. Well, again, I may come the next time with even more information. But also, you know, even people who oppose me on things, they carved out time. They may not be able to make the next meeting. So I think you're duty bound to hear what people actually came down here to specifically talk about, whether it's deferred or not, and it should be at the time scheduled on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public comment?
Hi, Jamie Say, Allentown. I think this is a good motion because people do take time to come out here, and if something's deferred, it would be a shame for a citizen to show up and then not be able to speak on something. And I understand your point. People are generally courteous, especially at a local level like this, and I think that's a good thing. But it's also good to have it written down and to have a procedure that people, you know, function by. Just since people would do it anyway, it's good to have it.
Your last name, Jamie?
Thanks.
Last name, please, Jamie.
Last name?
I didn't say anything.
I couldn't make it.
My name is Jamie Say.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Naomi once again, and thank you, Joe, for giving me the courage to speak so many times tonight. I'm really enjoying how much I'm getting tonight.
R's and D's.
You know, I agree with him 2/3 of the time. That's pretty all right. It's really, really, and that's the way it Anyway, I'm Naomi Wench, I'm from Emmaus Borough. I just wanted to say I think this resolution is obvious. We need this. We have been through a very, in my opinion, we have been through a very traumatic last 2 years of rights where we thought we had guarantees have been taken from us. You guys have been gracious and wonderful and allowing people to speak. So many people have been shushed. We don't ever want to have that happen here in Lehigh County or anywhere else for that matter. And so I think I commend Amy Zanelli and Marcus Grum's commissioners for taking on this obvious step that needed to be done to be proactive. And so rarely are we proactive. Thank you so much.
My name is Joyce Moore, and I live in Upper Milford Township, and I'm speaking in favor of this motion as well. And I think actually what Jeff said, Commissioner Grace, excuse me, speaks my mind, and I just wanted to thank him for his good words. The First Amendment is extremely important to me.
Thank you, Joyce.
Lou Shoup, Allentown. Long story short, I like the idea of ensuring that people who come here to speak have their voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. So, are we going to be making a motion for deferment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to defer so we can incorporate all the comments and get everybody's ideas and come up with a good agreement that we can all work with.
So we have a motion for deferment by Commissioner Granis. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second by Commissioner Zanelli. All in favor of deferment, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2018-43 has been deferred. Mr. Clerk, would you introduce the final resolution under new business this evening?
Resolution 2018-44, approving a second amendment to the professional services agreement with Senior Care Therapy Services, PC, sponsored by Commissioner Hartzell.
Thank you, Madam Solicitor.
The purpose of this resolution is to approve a second amendment to the professional services agreement with CHE Senior Therapy Services, which provides psychology and behavioral health services for the residents of Cedar Brook. The amendment extends the term of the contract for an additional year and includes discrimination clause and insurance language. A copy of the proposed agreement is attached to Exhibit A, and resolution approval is required to amend a previously approved agreement.
Thank you, Madam Solicitor. Sponsor comments, Commissioner Hartzell.
Obviously, another very important service, psychological counseling for our Cedar Brook residents, and it's an extension of a contract, no price increases or anything like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartzell. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Zanelli.
I think Commissioner Hartzell said it all.
Did you have a hand up?
No.
Oh.
It's the summer, we're all off. It's okay.
Any public input? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving resolution 2018-44, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Bills for first reading discussion tonight, Bill 2018-22. Mr. Clerk, would you introduce that bill?
Commissioner Bill 2018-22, adopting the 2019 through 2023 Lehigh County Capital Plan, sponsored by Commissioner Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Solicitor.
The purpose of this ordinance is to adopt the 2019-2023 capital plan. The plan was reviewed by the Finance Committee on July 10, 2018, and a copy of the proposed capital plan is attached to Exhibit A.
Thank you, Madam Solicitor. Mr. Clerk, would you introduce the amendment to the bill, please?
Sure, there's an amendment that's available to the press and public this evening. It's also on our website. It's an amendment to Bill 2018-22. It reads as follows. Attached to this amendment is a summary of all 2019 through 2023 capital plan projects listed by revenue source. I move that the revenue source for each of the following projects, project numbers 264, 248, 501, 445, 476, 484, 485, 487, 530, and 529 are changed from finance to operating. This amendment includes the 10 projects listed above for a total of $12,220,000. The total for projects funded with operating revenue is increased from $14,193,316 to $26,413,360, and the total for projects funded with financing revenue is reduced from $80,220,000 to $58 million.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Doherty. Any commissioner comments on the motion of the amendment? Commissioner Hall.
I'll comment. This is something that comes with the agreement of the administration. Once again, another product of cooperation in which we got together, some concerns were shared, and it was, this reflects that the intent of the administration to make an effort to fund our capital projects through operating dollars as opposed to financing, and it should be noted as well that the dollar amount listed is not a one-year dollar amount, but this is a 5-year capital plan, so it's spread out over the course of the plan, if you will.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Doherty.
Yes, I'd also like to mention that several people in the audience have seen surpluses over the years, and we want to use any surpluses at the end of the year, not to carry over to the following budget, but to help us pay down our bills. Rather than going out floating bond issues, we should be using hard cash to pay some of these bills. So it's like having a county credit card. If you keep running up that credit card, you're going to get deeper and deeper in debt. Pay for what you can in cash when you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Doherty. Any other commissioner comments? Any public input?
Joe Hilliard, South Allentown. I didn't know this was on the agenda either, but oh, magic to my ears. We talked about moving towards cash and carry 3-4 years ago. This is it. This is beautiful. And you know, some surplus I'd like to see go to maybe more tax relief, but at least this is a wise use of the money. Because again, it is absolute stupidity to, like the bond we issued for capital expenditures, to buy a lawnmower with borrowed Wall Street money. Now again, it's a 40-inch or 72-inch, I can't remember. It's not a typical lawnmower, but you don't buy operating equipment with capital money. I mean, that, you know, may have a 5, 6, 7-year lifespan, whatever, you know, but that's the point. Use the cash because now you free up those interest payments, which are simply going to Wall Street bankers. Why are we sending taxpayer money to Wall Street bankers? And that frees up money for maybe tax relief or more government spending in some areas, you know, doing some good things. You know, I'm not opposed to all that as long as our taxes don't go up consistently or at 20-point shots. So this is a great move because we are paying down debt. Now, obviously, the Cedarbrook project, you're not going to go cash and carry. But that's a sensible borrowing. Now, hopefully what you can do, what we see in other school districts, other government entities, they borrow money to pay all the fees. So you're doubling the cost of the fees because of interest. What? That's stupid. At least pay that portion in cash. I mean, you know, every dollar you save is a dollar in the county's pockets, and hopefully some of it makes its way back to the citizens' pockets. So this is, I'm elated. I mean, this is great, so thank you. And we need to keep working towards it. Because again, if a roof requires replacement every 20 years, that should be part of the budget, the operating budget. And you set aside a little bit of money, now you're earning interest when you need the money 20 years down the road. So you put 1/20th in the budget for that. It's just common sense. So this is beautiful. Thank you very much. You made my night.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Commissioner Brown, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just real quick, I think our magic number for is 2023. The year 2023 is when our bond kicks off, right? So that's debt service, and so we're excited about that. So hopefully this carries us there.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. All those in favor of approving?
No. For the amendment there. We have another amendment.
Yeah, we have to.
This is a vote on the First Amendment.
The first. Mr. Clerk, you want to do a roll call on the amendment?
Sure. There's a roll call on the amendment regarding Bill 2018-22, the capital plan. Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Doherty.
Yes.
Commissioner Gravis.
Yes.
Commissioner Nostine.
Yes.
Commissioner Hartzell.
Yes.
Commissioner Holt.
Yes.
Commissioner Zanelli.
Yes.
And Commissioner Brady.
Yes.
8 votes in favor and none opposed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Amendment passes. Moving on to the bill. Bill 2018-22. Sponsor comments. Commissioner Doherty.
We have a second.
Oh, we have a second
amendment. This is Commissioner Doherty distributed this in committee, and Mr. Mulchaney spoke to it. Again, it's an amendment to Bill 2018-22. In this case, the amendment is to capital plan project number 521, outdoor maintenance equipment. The amendment is to eliminate the 3-year project and place the entire funding request into 2019.
Thank you. Is there a motion made for the amendment?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Doherty, second by Commissioner Holt. Any other commissioner comments on our second amendment?
I believe this was for a piece of equipment which needs to be purchased all at once. You can't just purchase, you know,
3 years.
the steering wheel here and the rest of it later. So it allows to be all purchased.
Any other commissioner comments? Any public input? All those in favor of approving this second amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Second amendment passes. Now we're back on track. Bill 2018-22. Sponsor comments. Commissioner Doherty.
Just to thank Rick Mulchaney for all the hard work that he did and all the meetings that occurred behind the scenes to work out some of the glitches in here. And the amendments are working testimony to the amount of work that was done there. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Holt for her great amount of input to the process. So with that, no further comment.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Bryce?
Huge contrast to when I came onto the board 5 years ago. The process was very unwieldy. We've all come a long way in this process. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Last call for commissioner comments. Any public input? Hearing none, Commissioner Bill 2018-22 has had its first reading and scheduled for second reading, discussion, and vote at our next meeting. Moving on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Commissioner Gramis?
Yeah, I think we had a very productive general services meeting tonight. I'd like to thank Rick Mulchaney for the 911 recovery update that could possibly result in some funds coming to the county, but also more importantly the bridge overview that in our infrastructure, trying to get commissioners more familiar with what we're facing. And I know there was a significant amount of work that was done by Rick and also Commissioner Holt and Deputy Clerk Valerie. So I'd like to thank everybody for the work that they've done to make that a successful meeting.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Any citizens input on the committee reports? Any commissioner announcements? Commissioner Gramis?
Yes. One other item. Last Wednesday night I met with several residents of the Northern Lehigh community, the new superintendent of schools, the mayor, and Washington Township supervisors and Chamber of the Northern Lehigh Chamber of Commerce, and and Mike Cookins from the Northern Lehigh Rec Authority. And this board, during the budget process, then Commissioner Creighton, who is now a district magistrate, made an amendment to the budget to approve $20,000 for a feasibility study for the Northern Lehigh Community Center, which is pretty much, the project's over 20 years old and the building is about 8 years old. So the feasibility study came down to 5 vendors. We interviewed them, took about 5 hours to do, and we've awarded a contract. So it's very good, and it's going to be a great project.
Good news. Thank you for that. Any other commissioner announcements? Commissioner Holt.
I'll just mention that I would just like to thank our maintenance staff here. I've heard their praises sung over the last couple of days. There have been a few, let's just say, property glitches here that have needed attention, and they have been phenomenal in promptly addressing those and even just saving the county money through the in-house skills that we have here to keep things up and running. So I think it's worth noting, as we hear the wind and rain tonight, that we have wonderful maintenance staff that no matter what damage comes will be able to help us out there.
We're waiting for locusts.
Last call for Commissioner Last call for commissioner announcements. Citizens input. Hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment? So moved.